That was number one. They rejected me on that. One of the most viral things on my Instagram page is a Pikachu AP. And I hit them up about this. And they just very politely were like, nope, it's not on our roadmap. Goodbye. And so little did I know they were probably working on this for like a year plus. So it makes a lot more sense now why they were so quick to just say no to it. But I thought, like, you know what? I own an AP. It's not going to devalue my watch. I got the AP for me anyways. Like, it's one of my favorite watches in my collection.
You are now tuned in to Due Time Presents The Watchers. I'm your host, Rod Dye, aka Rod the Watcher. I'm here with the one, the only, Rio the Watcher. How you doing today, my guy?
I'm great, my brother, and yourself?
Man, I'm doing very well, man. Blessed. And today, today's a great episode, man. You know, this word of horology, man, it connects you to a lot of people. And one of my good, social media associates, social media buddies is joining us today, who has a very successful show of his own that we'll get into. So today we're going to welcome Mr. Seth Klebe to the show. How you doing today, my guy?
Hey, fantastic. Thank you so much. What a great, warm, welcoming intro. Yeah, it's great to be here and to get this out of just being in each other's DMs all day, every day.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like yourself and some others where it's it's hot takes or start talking about, collections and what do you like and what do you think about this? And it's cool, man, how, these watches bring us all together, man. So before we get into it, we always start with, what's on wrist. Rio, kick us off.
For sure. I have the Longines Spirit Zulu Time, 42 millimeter. Old Faithful on here right now, man. So that's how I'm coming today. What about yourself?
Nice, man. So today, man, this is damn near becoming a daily for me. I'm wearing the hell out of this watch. It's the Fierce Jump Hour Brunswick, the Barleycorn Plum. So yeah, man, I've worn this a few times on the show, man. Very comfortable. I got the gray strap on there today. Comes with the burgundy strap as well. And it's it's a very comfortable wear, something that's, let's say, eye-catching, but still can be, a bit under the radar as well. So, man, I love it. I love it, man. Also gives me a good complication for the watch box just to switch up the monotony a little bit. So, yeah. Seth, bring us home.
My watch box is very monotonous. It's time only, date, that's it. I would love a GMT one day. That'll probably happen. But on wrist for me today is I have a Blancpain 50 Fathoms. This is the blue dial. It's 42.3 millimeters in titanium. And I've got it on sail canvas, which is, I think, the best way looks-wise, comfort-wise. The rubber strap is the best all day, but I'm just fashion is pain, and so I went with the less comfortable one.
I have a question. Blancpain is one that we all know about. We all know the history of it. But from your point of view, what made you go ahead and pull a trigger on Blancpain? Because it's not one that everyone would go towards, even though I think it's a beautiful dive watch.
Very intentional.
Yeah. Yes. So first, I always looked at a 50 Fathoms and I was like, this thing looks great, but then you see 45 millimeters. Yeah. And that was so intimidating to me. I was like, nope. Not going to look at the brand. They have other great watches, but the 50 Fathoms is their mainstay. And so for years, I was like, nope, doesn't matter. I looked at everything but Blancpain. But then the Swatch collab came into the mix, crazy enough. And I was in Vegas for work, walked over to the Swatch store, bought the Blancpain Swatch in the black version of it. It was the 42. So it was the 42 before this 42 came out. And I was like, I'm just going to wear this thing and see how I feel about it. And I absolutely fell in love with the case shape, the fit of it. Brought it on vacation, loved it. For me, it's going to be hard to see, but like there's this very sharp taper down, and it reminds me almost of like a steel drum when it's on my wrist, and I love that sharp curvature. And so when this ultimately came out in the 42, I was like, all right, I'm getting rid of the Swatch and I'm getting a real Blancpain. So for anyone who doubts that the Swatch collabs don't work and don't make revenue for the more luxury brand, you're wrong.
Wow. Perfect timing, right, Rod?
We were gonna get to that later, but we're already on the topic. So I think we already know where we're going with this. What was your opinion when you first heard of the AP Swatch collab?
I was stoked. And for me, like, I just love when people who are on the sidelines or don't like watches start thinking about and talking about watches. I'm a maniac like that. I want everyone to be obsessed with watches for nothing other than it's more people that I get to go talk to about watches. And so when I saw that collab, I was like, I had two thoughts. I was like, one, it makes a lot of sense why AP told me absolutely not when I wanted to do a Pokemon watch with them.
Wow.
That was number one. They rejected me on that. One of the most viral things on my Instagram page is a Pikachu AP. And I hit them up about this. And they just very politely were like, nope, it's not in our roadmap. Goodbye. And so little did I know they were probably working on this for like a year plus.
Yeah.
So it makes a lot more sense now why they were so quick to just say no to it. But I thought, like, you know what? I own an AP. It's not going to devalue my watch. I got the AP for me anyways. Like, it's one of my favorite watches in my collection. And so I was like, I just hope the actual end product looks cool and is functional, you know? And so it came out today and we see these 8 variations. I think they are cool. I'm not going to get one for myself. I don't think that fits my style, but I think they're about to become the hottest bag charm on a purse this season. No questions asked. And it's just got people talking about watches. So hats off to them.
I'm with you. So at first, when they announced it, like my initial thought was like, why would AP do this? Like, considering that they're, you know, part of like the Holy Trinity and you know, we all hold AP in this high regard. And then very quickly, even before like seeing, you know, all of these takes on social media, like I sat with it and I was thinking like, you know what? This is actually good. I feel like, you know, the watch industry and, you know, watch social media, watch talk, I feel like it can be a bit stuffy at times, you know, and like, I feel like sometimes, you know, we can, you know, forget that these are just watches. These are meant to enjoy, meant to have fun. And, you know, to see a brand like Audemars Piguet, you know, partner with Swatch, I looked at it from a business perspective, like, you know, this is going to allow, you know, the masses to, you know, interact with the brand who probably wouldn't be able to at, you know, the normal price point. I mean, you figure what the entry point of AP is, what, about 28.4, 28.5.
A lot
of money. Exactly. So
it's a lot of money.
You know, not that the masses are going to be able to get their hands on it anyway, but you just figure, you know, it's, you know, democratizing, you know, AP a bit, you know, to, you know, reach down. And I also feel like, you know, people will remember that, you know, and maybe they can't, you know, afford the core collection now, but they may remember, you know, 5, you know, 10 years from now when they're able to, and then they may, you know, go AP. They may or may not. I know for me, when I got into watches, you know, the first like luxury watch I purchased was a Breitling. And it was because I remember the impression I had of Breitling when I was growing up. And it's just like, you know what? I'm gonna get a Breitling. That's what I remember as, you know, coming up. And so like I said, I feel like AP, as far as like the marketing that they've done, I mean, it's I mean,
yes.
They've accomplished their objective here. Yeah.
They are some of the most genius marketers in the world.
Yeah.
And Rod, what you said hits so true. Like, we have to remember that brands, while they also make very serious, professional watches, like, let's take Rolex, right? Like, they make beautiful watches that you can wear to a wedding, to a funeral, like to everything in between, right? An adventure. They also make the celebration dial, right? Like, that thing is just funky, doesn't care. So and that's just one example, right? This is, I think, one of AP's moments to like have some fun with it, you know? The AP that I have is it's a music edition watch. So, I mean, like, it just has this very crazy, like, it's supposed to look like a equalizer on a soundboard.
That's clay.
Like,
that's clay.
It's fire. That's an offshore, right?
It's an offshore.
Yeah, and I hear a lot of people love that, like that particular model of offshore. I know a lot. I do music and stuff like that, and I know a lot of DJs who are dying to get one. And producers, they just love that look. But it's a fun way of celebrating something with a serious brand, and that's something that I had to take a step back on. You know what I mean?
Serious brand, but doing something like not serious, you know? And everyone's going to, and just like anything, everyone's going to have their opinion on it. My favorite comment, if ever it like shows up online in a reel or something like that, I think I had someone just this past week. They were like, "That's the worst watch I've ever seen." And I can't help but to smile because it's like my favorite watch in my collection, you know? And I'm like, I don't care what you think. It's
That's
mine.
crazy. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's insane.
Like if you can't, if you can't wear it, just say that. Rio, what was your take on it, man? Because I know you had a hard stance.
I hated it. No, seriously, and it wasn't
the honesty.
Yeah, I hated it. I hated the thought of it. I'm not a big fan of the Omegas, the Most Watch. I'm not a big fan of that either. But taking myself out of the equation, that's where I think I get back to the whole point of what I started liking watches in the first place. Like I was telling Rod, like, you know, when you are focused on like creating your own collection, and yes, this is fun. These are watches, but I think as men, we're still competitive, or we still focus. I like to like zero in on my collection. It's fun, but you care about every single watch in your collection, and you were intentional about every single watch, or you were on a pursuit of when you were building that watch, right? So I had blinders on when it came to certain brands and certain things. It was like, I'm trying to pursue a Royal Oak for real. And here you come and just throw it and kind of make it like childish and playful when I'm like making personal little goals that's not important in the grand scheme of life. But in this watch world that we're in, we spend a lot of time talking about these watches, these brands, the market. So we can sit here and say, oh, it's just watches, we just doing this. But in reality, we care a lot. So we spend a lot of time, our wives and our family members will be like, why the heck are you talking about this if it's not somewhat serious to you to some kind of degree, right? So that's where I was just like, that part of me was like, man, why are they trying to make fun and make light of something that I'm in pursuit of, right? And for people who actually do own them, I was thinking like, well, dang, man, this could have been a milestone for you to achieve something. I can't sit here and say how you should feel about something that I don't have, right? But then I got to sit back and think about it from a branding perspective. It was a masterclass in marketing. I do think that it was intentional to not let people know exactly what it was, to not make it exactly like the Royal Oak. To make it to where it's playful for it. It's really like, to me, it's apparel. It's apparel that has a movement in it. You know what I mean? So like, I respect what they've done. I'm not the market. I'm not the key person that they're looking for this watch, but it's absolutely fine. I think the more people get it, they will think about the name, think about the brand, and have some kind of, either it's going to be fun or it's going to be some kind of pride that they have it. So I salute to whoever get it. What you eat don't make me and that's that.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I know I know every time you post something real, people going to always have, you're polarizing. You're polarizing in that way in the watch culture though. So, one thing that you said though, it is serious. And you can look at, I'm sure I'll speak for all three of us, you can look at our camera roll and see how serious we take watches. And I'll just go like, okay, it's my kids.
Disgusting amount.
It's my family and watches. No, but so we'll take a step back, Seth, and just kind of give our audience, an idea of who you are. So who is Seth Klebe?
I'm from California, born, raised, educated, first employed, Bay Area kid. Bay Area is also where I fell in love with watches for my first time. Well, actually, technically, it was in Maryland on a work trip, but that I digress. But I've been in Atlanta now for 7 years. I work in technology. I'm a sales leader. I manage a fantastic team for a company called Island that I joined recently. And when I love something, I really love it, and I love to go all in. And I have done that with music, my career, the person that I'm in love with, caring for my dog. So I'm a very passionate person. And so that's like a snippet of me without going too overboard.
Oh, good. No, it's a great synopsis. So let's bring it back to the watches. What was the first watch that you fell in love with?
I've got it here with me. So this was the first big boy watch purchase I ever made. It is a Omega Globemaster. So I've had this for over a decade now. They recently discontinued this watch, which I was kind of sad about it, because it just means to me that they're ready to like put it to rest. I've never really cared that much about like the exclusivity of a piece. Not too much. I have some opinions on it, but yeah, I got that watch. Back to being in Maryland. I moved to my first enterprise sales role, and I was really young in my career at the time. And I had my first kind of like big boy business review, and I was in a room with a lot of people who were much older and way more farther along in their career than me. And I will never forget, everyone was kind of talking, socializing before the day kicked off, the very first day. And I saw Breitlings, Rolexes, Omegas, I think Panerai in the room. And I didn't know any of these things at the time, but it just kind of stuck with me. I'm like, oh, these people who are like very successful and who I look up to that I'm now in the room with are wearing watches. And when I was much younger, I wore watches too. I had G-Shocks. I had some Casios. I had a Citizen. I had a Bulova. Like I rotated. I got rid of them. Didn't really care. And so after that trip, I had this moment where I like looked at my bank account, and I was like, up until this point, I'd like never really spent money on myself, but I'd done like very well so far in my career. And I was like, I have disposable income. Holy shit. And I was like, I want to get a watch. I want to start wearing a watch again. That like, it literally happened like that. And so I started doing research without knowing it, and really without having too many watch guides at this point that I could go to. I had like one friend who was into watches at the time. But I just did it all myself, and I like stumbled through it. I obsessed over like all these videos, and then I landed on the Omega Globemaster because I just felt like it was a watch I could kind of wear for everything and bring anywhere, and like throw on a different strap too if I wanted to, for like a more adventurous outing or something. And I'd never seen the watch in person. So, and I've bought a lot of watches where I've not seen them in person. I think one of my secret talents is I can tell it's going to be great for me, even if I don't have a chance to try it. Like it's a party trick basically for me. So, I'll never forget like the very first time that I made a watch purchase either. My heart was like, boom, boom, boom. Am I really about to spend X thousands of dollars on something that tells the time? And by the way, that feeling never has left me. Anytime, it doesn't matter the amount. My heart is just like, am I really doing this again? Again?
Yeah.
10 times later?
Yeah.
So honestly, that's like how this watch came into my life. And that was my first one. I still wear it just about every week. And I will say it is a near perfect watch for me.
That's awesome. Let me ask you this, because I want to ask, how does that feeling right there, right, bring us to watch the tech? Did you care about buying watches and the thrill of that first watch? Like, walk me through to watch the tech, because I mean, we got here through a similar pattern of Rod being in rooms with executives and start noticing the watches on their wrist. And then for some reason, he cursed me and he called me and asked me what I know about watches. I was more into cars at the time. And I was like, no, I don't know that much about watches. And thousands and thousands of dollars and days and a bunch of content later, here we are. So I want to know from there to watch the tech, what made you want to marry the two?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, similar to you, like through my network, personal and professional, like watches have absolutely found its way into like those worlds and those conversations. I'll never forget one of my first kind of like professional interactions where I was negotiating a deal with Spotify and their legal team. And I'm on the call and it's kind of a contentious negotiation. And I notice the gentleman is wearing a Panerai. I feel like it was a Luminor. Mm-hmm. And actually, no, it was a Rodiamir. Okay. And I sent him an email and I was like, hey, like, by the way, I love that Panerai Rodiamir. That thing's so cool. I have a Luminor Due. That's so great.
Yeah.
And he weirdly kind of gave us some positive terms that we needed to go and get this deal done. And actually, I still email with this guy every once in a while. So that happened now 6 or 7 years ago. So like, that's just crazy to me. So fast forward, watch the tech. I had this idea in my head for a few years and I was just like, I love this thing so much. Like it gives me like the warm fuzzies to even like think about my like love for watches in the community. And I was like, if I ever end up with like a lot of extra time, I want to figure out how to do like a watch podcast. And I was like, I live in tech, I work in tech. I want to meld that somehow, some way. And then I was on a plane coming back from work in New York, and I ran into a friend of mine who lives in Atlanta. We actually studied abroad together, of all things. And we were just catching up. And he was telling me about like he's flying to New York, like he's there for 4 nights a week, and then he's coming back to Atlanta. He's married, he has a kid, and he's starting a side business. And I was just like, if he's doing this and I'm not starting this project,
yeah,
what am I doing? Mm-hmm. And so right then and there, I thought the entire Uber ride home, I dreamed about this. I woke up thinking about it. Days passed, I was still thinking about it. And then thoughts turned to actions, and I began to actually like put together the steps of how does one produce, make, and run a podcast. And so the rest is history. Next month is 2 years of Watch the Tech. And I'm super happy to say that some people actually enjoy watching the episodes. So super happy about that. And I love, anytime an episode comes out too, like I get to text my closest friends, my family, and say, hey, please watch a little bit of this. And, luckily they do.
Yeah. That's amazing, man.
Yeah, man.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I remember like when I first came across it, I'm like, hey, Rio, man, this is dude. He has a watch pod as well, but he's in tech. Because we already talk about like how can we just like obviously making it organic as possible, like you said, just like marrying the different facets of our lives into it. And I feel like you've done a great job with Watch the Tech. Obviously, I'm sure you love all of your guests and, you probably enjoy, all the episodes equally. But what are some of the episodes that have stood out, to you, like of your own? Like, what are some of your?
That's a good question. Man, okay. I'm going to make decisions. So one of the most important to me was my very first episode. My guest was my father. Doesn't give a shit about watches. In his closet, he has the exact same Iron Man watch. He has like 8 of them. So when the battery dies, he just goes and pulls another one from the closet. I kid you not. He's been doing this for the same watch for like probably close to 2 decades at this point. And so I was like, listen, I need you to like click this link, log in. I'm going to ask you a series of questions. We'll have some fun with it. He was such a trooper. We had the best time. It was such a core memory between like me and my dad. So that was an amazing one. That was the archetype for how it all began. Man, I got to have my former CEO on. His name's Lou Cerny. That was a special episode. Also, to this day, he has like one of the most insane watch collections I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, incredible.
So, the success of a CEO, turns out it does pay off.
Who knew?
Who knew? Definitely. And then I loved my episode with, so many good ones. My H. Moser episode was fantastic with Bertrand. That was just like such a special treat. That was also one of the first people in watches, like the industry, where it kind of went a little bit outside of tech. Obviously, Moser does some like pretty cool technical things with their movements and, their design and their process for their Grand Few dials. So all of that, amazing. I had a guy named Corporate Bro. Ross is his real name. He was such a treat. I basically prospected into him for about 11 months to get him onto the show. So I worked really hard on that one, and he was awesome. And like now we still like text every once in a while. So it's cool to like carry that relationship. I did do an episode with Audemars Piguet, which was awesome. They didn't allow me to say their name, so it's blanked out every time, which I just find hilarious.
That's crazy.
So that was its own fun story. And then I would honestly say the last episode that I just did with David Verburg, an Olympic gold medalist, the least far from tech ever.
I've seen that. Yeah.
But similar, so that just came out, but similar to us, like we just started organically interacting through Instagram, and I never even thought to really ask him to come on because he's so outside of like a tech guest.
Yeah.
But I was just like, you're so pleasant to interact with. I can't help myself. Will you please like come onto this?
Yeah,
and he was such a great sport. And like, I love learning about his kind of profile of watches. Cause he's very, I would say like a lot more on the indie side of things. And so it was cool. Cause like I'm less so on that side. I have some of that, but you know, it was great to get his perspective. So
yeah, I seen that episode. I seen he had like the Doxa watches and talk about his dad like with like Seikos. What I thought was interesting, even with him being an Olympian, like he's on the wait list like the rest of us. Like,
oh, totally.
I was like, oh wow,
totally.
Like, he's on a wait list like the rest of us.
Watches is the great equalizer. For that. It really is, you know, like John Mayer, that guy, like he has to wait just like the rest of us. He is human and inhumanly talented.
Absolutely.
If you want to be humbled, walk into an AD and request the watch of your dreams and see if you get to walk out with it.
What are your thoughts of the watch industry today? And not just the watch industry itself, but the media space, the content space, the podcast space. From, let's just even go back a couple years ago before you started your pod until now. Like, what do you feel like the energy is like, and that may have been a little bit different before you either started your pod or before you even recognized that it was happening on social media?
Man, that's such a great question, Rio. It is a unadulterated explosion of watch content now over the last couple of years. I mean, when I like first really got into watches, there was Monochrome and there was like Revolution and there was Hodinkee, and then that was like it. Now, I swear there are more watch content creators than there are New York Times reporters. Easy. Right? Like there's so many. And I don't think it's a bad thing, like, to be clear. Like, and I'm someone who, like, I'm part of that. I have my podcast. I don't comment so much on like the news of what's happening. I think that is one area, unless I'm going to like satirize it possibly just for like pure fun. But I think what does kind of kill me is there are so many people. So when a watch gets launched, like the Royal Pop or even something else, right? Like the new Longines Hydra Conquest, for example. We'll use that one as an example. There's like 40 or 50 or more people, groups, whatever. And they're all, my feed just becomes like, it feels very similar, right? Mm-hmm. And so, you know, the more that the content can be differentiated, the better, in my opinion. So there's a lot of media. I eat a lot of it up for sure. I've got my favorites, just like everybody else. But yeah, I mean, if you want to learn about watches and you want to hear people's opinion on watches, shit, it's available.
How do you cut through the noise to, you know, beyond the fact that, you know, Watch the Tech is about watches and then people that's in tech as well. So you already have your own niche within a niche. But how do you cut through the noise? How do you grow that brand in a market that is forever growing and maybe becoming saturated to a degree?
Well, first, what I realized is at the end of the day, like, it's fun for me. It is not my job. You know, like that's a completely separate thing. I don't think this will ever become my job. I'll never say never, but I don't think it will. And so once I have that mindset, it just flows. But it's a passion project, and I do take that piece seriously. I want my content to be well edited. I want it to be engaging. I want it to be something that I myself can look back on later in life and be proud of. And so how I cut through the noise, I'll say it's twofold. On YouTube, when I publish an episode, I also allocate about anywhere from $100 to $200 on ad spend. and I'm not ashamed to say that, by the way. I make that very public. The internet is super vast and it's hard to cut through the noise. So like, I don't mind, because when I go and do that, there's a good chance that someone genuine who wouldn't have found me otherwise finds me. Yes. And then sometimes like they'll either comment or they'll find me on Instagram. And I'm just like super thankful for that, because once again, it's the community. And then on Instagram, kind of the other main area where I play, that's where like there's a lot more short form content and stuff like that. And so I would say like my humor style and stuff, like I'm kind of like pithy. There's like just, I like quick wit, stuff like that. So that's what typically you'll see on my Instagram. And some of that stuff, like the algorithm or whatever, people have shared it and it's been really lovely. And, you know, I've get some more people like I have. And so that's also a way to cut through the noise, because ultimately like those fun reels, people then see the podcast reels and they're like now being exposed to like the part where I'm a little bit more like soulful, thoughtful about my how I take watches. So that's my very official media strategy. And I'll be first to say like my Instagram following is small, and that's like perfectly cool. Like I'm good with that. And I get to interact with people like you two. So like I'm winning, you know? Like I'm winning.
For sure. And
yeah. Well, no, of course.
I see the engagement, the traction, and the let's say caliber of guests, you know, on Watch the Tech. So it's definitely, you know, a measure of success that you've experienced. So definitely kudos to you, you know, for that. Man, let's get to it, man. So walk us through, what your thought process is when it comes to like acquiring a new piece. Like, like what is it? Like, do you like buy watches to like mark milestones, or is it just you see it, you like it, and you buy
it? It's all of the above. As much as I wish I could say every watch has this like painstaking achievement behind it, it's just not true. Some watches I just got because I really fucking wanted the thing. Yeah, so I began, and like my like acquisition profile has definitely changed over time. My earlier collecting was very much use case based. It was use case based. I needed a dress watch, or like my first, the Omega. I was like, I need like my all around everyday watch, and I wore that watch for like 2.5 years before getting another one. Then I needed a black dial watch. Then I needed a stainless steel watch. I wanted a blue watch, blue dial. I wanted a green dial. So like once I then got through like those use cases, and then travel watch, that was another really important one for me. Once I had that, I had hit every single use case that I wanted. And so I was like, oh shit, I'm out of use cases. Now I'm just buying watches for fun. Truly. Like that's really like what it was. And so today, now I've reached this point where I had 10 watches, and I decided at first, like on earlier episodes of my podcast, you can hear me say, I will never sell a watch. And now I'm like swallowing my words, because I reached 10, and I don't want to go above 10 because I truly love wearing these things almost every day. And I wear a different watch depending on the day of the week. And so I had like some decisions to make. So what I've landed on, I'm really great at putting rules in front of myself. So my rule now is if I'm going to add, I must subtract.
I'm sorry. I wanted to get this. So you recently just subtracted a very nice piece out of your collection and acquired a nice piece. So I was going to ask you to walk us through some of the pieces that you have, but let's focus on this. Let's talk about what you offloaded and then what you purchased. Because I know we discussed this offline, but this is important.
Yes, you're right. So I was the owner of a Vacheron Constantin 56 in petrol blue. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Watch that I absolutely love and I wore for a really long time. And I acquired a Rolex Hulk. So that was my most recent watch purchase. So love it. I mean, yeah, it's just and this was basically completely unworn. It was sitting in a safe before I acquired it. So shout out to my friends at Rocky Mountain Watches for helping me acquire this piece. But I knew that I wanted to acquire the Hulk, and so I was like, well, if I truly want this watch, I must offload and subtract. And I basically did some soul searching, and I also asked my fiance. The one I was originally going to offload was my Panerai Luminor Due. So I was going to offload this watch. This is the second watch I ever bought, and this watch was actually here with me on some pretty important milestones. I bought my first house wearing that watch. I'm 95% sure I was wearing that watch on my first date with my fiance.
Oh yeah.
I don't even think she knows that, to be honest. But I had a couple of watches that I was like, they were contenders to get rid of, right? Like that one. And I asked Ansley, my fiance, I'm like, I think I'm going to get rid of the Panerai. And she was like, no, I love that watch. And so I was like, oh. And then she took it a step further. I want you to get married in that watch. Straight up.
Wow.
Straight up. Yeah. So I'm wearing this Panerai to get married next year. And so I was like, all right, well, can't be the Panerai. So the Vacheron kind of quickly became the next one. And listen, I love that watch. But now with the Blancpain, I have a blue watch that I can also use in more use cases. You know, you can't go diving with a 56. And so that became the one. That was the trade. That was the trade. Yeah.
I think you did a great job. Yeah. I think you did a great. I actually like the 56 though. Let me be clear.
Thank you.
56 is a very classy piece. But when you have that much memory attached to that Panerai, once the boss said no, and it took you aback, like, oh, you care?
Yeah, she doesn't even like watches, but when she chooses to have an opinion on them, I listen because I'm like, this is rare. This is a rare moment. Yeah. Right. So I'll take it.
Yeah. I love that.
Proud moment.
Totally.
A proud moment. Totally. Yeah.
Any surprises with the Hulk so far? Is you like it more that you got it? Is it like, is it everything that you thought it would be?
100%. And then some. Yeah. So the reason why it even became something back in my crosshairs was one of my podcast episodes that I did with Quade Walker, who's the CEO and co-founder of Bezel, the watch marketplace. And he has an emotional connection to his Hulk. And after the episode, and I was doing the editing and everything, I was just like, I just started casually watching Hulk review videos. And it reminded me of how rich the green is. And just the combination of the dial and bezel is it's perfection. And so I then went on a spirit quest to make sure that the maxi case wasn't too big for me. I'm not a huge person by any means, and neither are my wrists. So I'm very particular that it's the right size for me. Not just the case itself, but also how big is the crystal, the bezel presence, the lugs. I have it pretty dialed. And so I talked to a number of friends who also have a Hulk I'm asking them send me pictures. I need the profile. Because I couldn't just easily go and get my hands on one. I did ultimately get to go try one on in Atlanta, but I was like, okay, I think this will work. And so yes, the size, it is perfect. It fits so well. And what's so funny too is I have a Rolex Yacht-Master. I have a Yacht-Master, and it's a 40. You know, the Hulk is a 40. However, they're not created equal. They're very different 40s, right? So I was like, this is not actually the real template. And I very much think like the Yacht-Master case is like pretty perfectly sized to my wrist. So even more reason why I was like, I don't know, like is the Hulk
It has like a date just case,
thick?
like it's very sleek and it's very like a posh Submariner. And people think that it's like, oh, it's like no, it doesn't have the same case profile. The lugs curve with your wrist is much more sleeker. So if you were using that as like you said, a use case, that's not it.
Yeah, it's basically if a Sub and a Daytona had a baby.
I like that. I like that analogy. All right, so I hear you say you have relationships with dealers and stuff like that. What is your relationship with authorized dealers? Do you wait on the wait list yourself? Do you go back and forth? And how do you choose which watches you're going to go to a gray market dealer or which ones you're going to actually ask for an allocation for?
That's a great question, Rio.
Thank you.
Yeah. Off the cuff, too. Fuck. So,
side note, just really quickly, I had a 5-hour interview today with a tech company. So I'm just like on the go right now with these questions.
I love it.
He did.
But that's fantastic. We'll
talk about it later.
A 5-hour interview is far too long, my friend.
Yes.
But getting back to your question, so I do not play the AD game. I will not buy another watch only to go get the watch that I actually want. That's not how I make financial decisions or decisions about watches. That's just me. I know many people who do it. They have the means. Totally fine. It works. ADs do it because it works. Yada, yada. But like I do have like some friends who are ADs, and I have I've gotten 2 watches through ADs. So my 56 came from Vacheron. Awesome. And then I have a Rolex Datejust, the Palm Green dial, which came from an AD. This was a birthday present to myself because no one gifts me watches, so I have to do it myself. So I love this watch. It got discontinued very fast, so clearly the most of the populace didn't like it, but that's cool. I love it.
It's great.
So I was able to get those watches direct, no problem. I mean, it took me it was like a year of waiting for that Datejust, but so with that kind of in consideration, I will go to gray market if that's where I need to, and I'm totally cool with that. I'm a very patient person to wait for the right watch from the right dealer as well. And so, I'm lucky enough. I have some relationships in LA, in Colorado, in New York. So, if there's a watch that I would like to get, there's a network of great people that I'll go and kind of start my journey with. And they're also like so wonderful and kind that they've worked with friends of mine too. So, they're great folks. Yeah. How about you guys? I want to know the answer to this for you.
Yeah. So I've had some success with the authorized dealer, and I always have this theory of, you got a volume shoot like yourself. Like you have to, establish as many connections, let's say, as you can. So like I travel for work pretty often, and, if I'm, depending where I'm traveling to, if I have, some free time, I always carve out some time to go visit the authorized dealer. And I'll say that's worked in my favor. Initially, I would say my first Rolex I ever purchased was actually from eBay, because I told myself, if this takes longer than 50 days, I'm going to just buy one off of eBay. And I bought one off of eBay, and then I got the call from the AD like 2 days later. I was on a work call with one of my good friends, Rio the Watcher, and we're actually talking about actually like work actually a work topic. We're like just talking through like the client stuff, and then like right in the middle of the call, I'm like, man, forget that. I just got a text from the AD. She sent me 2
Yeah, we're really
watches.
talking about a client.
Yeah, we just stopped it. Like, yeah, I know. Yeah, we can get back to the client talk, but the AD sent me like 2 date just. Check, do you want these? I'm like, those are great. I would prefer my first one to be on Jubilee. She's like, well, we have a smooth dial, smooth bezel. It's mint and green on Jubilee. I'm like, oh, I'll be there in an hour. So yeah,
yeah, say less.
Yeah, say less. So yeah, that, and then I got a
cool.
Yeah, and then out of town, got a couple. They just there, and then I graduated from Penn State in December, and I made a request for I gave them like a list of like sky dwellers and like GMTs, and I'm like, they asked me to stack rank them. I'm like, I prefer whichever one I can get first. And then 2 weeks later, after requesting it, I got a mint green sky dweller. So I've had some
hot watch.
Yeah, I've had some AD success, and but yeah, like you said, I'm not buying anything that I don't want. So
right, and I mean, once I learned that the wait list is a complete made up concept, I stopped caring about like the AD thing. I've got mine who are friends, and it was an AD who we were actually just out to dinner casually, and I was like, so tell me honestly, I'm on the list for a Patek Aquanaut in blue dial white gold. What are my odds of actually getting that watch? And he laughed and said, probably 0.
Yeah. God. That's crazy.
And I was like, okay, probably 0. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would say for me, I think it's good. I think it's cool to establish a relationship. I enjoy going to authorized dealers. I enjoy seeing how I will be, how the interaction would be, what the customer experience would be like. You're getting to see the watches under the best lights, right? Everybody's not.
The best light is outside.
Outside. That's the truth.
Stand by that.
No, that's the truth. A lot of my friends have actually had the security guard walk with them outside so they can go look at the watches on the wrist in the sunlight. Yeah, they say,
that's
hey,
awesome.
Come with me. I just need to see this in the sun before I say yes when they're getting the allocation. I would say if I want that watch, I guess I'm similar to you guys. If I really want it, when I really start doing the math on what you would have to do to get it, I think you should just go after the watch that you want to get. And if you really love it, the market price is almost irrelevant. Now I put a couple of rules in front of myself as well. There's certain amounts of money that I probably will not pay for a non-precious metal piece. And as much as I like a steel Daytona, 40,000 on the secondary market is probably a no for me. Now I understand the market value. I am understand capitalism through and through, baby. But I also think that, nothing is for certain. If, heaven forbid, Rolex goes down the drain, which I don't believe they will. At the end of the day, if I had a solid gold watch for $40,000, I can get something for the solid gold if the brand just happens to go in the shitter. All right. So that's just measurements and the way I was raised. I don't care. My logic and watch logic on that one thing have not, like, I know what stainless steel is. I know what it's used for, and it's great for watches in a certain range. Once we start getting into, the market is saying that it's 3 times worth more than what it actually is retail, and it's not even a precious metal or a precious gemstone. And I know that's marketing too, but if it's not something like that, I can't see me paying 3 times the retail for it. I'd rather just get a solid gold day or something like that, as opposed to paying 40, 45 for, a Daytona 2026 model. So
fair, totally fair.
Yeah, that's kind of how I move.
What piece do you want to add to your collection? Like, I feel like I know what you're going to say, but I'm going to let you go ahead and speak, Seth. Like, what do you...
Royal Pop.
Oh. You said what?
He wants the Royal
Pop.
Besides the Royal Pop.
Yeah, besides the Royal Pop. I'm so curious that you actually think you know the watch that I want to get. So I can't wait for you to tell me that. But there is a short list. I'll be honest, the watch that I really would like doesn't actually exist. I'll tell you what it is. It doesn't actually exist. I have a dream that I get a wedding watch that is a Moser Streamliner in steel with a Vantablack dial with hour markers. That doesn't actually exist today. I would love that watch. So with that one not being in existence, I definitely would like a Moser next.
I was right.
Damn.
I was right.
You read me like the Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown, man. Yeah, still a Moser. If the Vacheron 4 points weren't $41,000, which I think is ridiculous, that would be a watch that I would get off the sidelines for. Because which color is the North?
Green, I think green.
Yes. So I would probably do the green. I like the blue one as well. Yeah. Those are among two of my favorite colors. Black is my number one favorite color, so everything else is secondary to that. But 41K is just not the right price point. People will buy that watch for 41K, no question. It's a hell of a watch. It would be a GMT I would actually feel comfortable wearing in the world, because I think it's under the radar enough where most people in general have no idea what it is, no matter where you are in the world. So I'd feel more comfortable with it, but the price point is just...
Really quickly, that Moser, because I think Moser was one of the first brands I think I seen with that Vantablack, with that dial. I remember when I was doing a lot of content last year.
They're the only one actually that do a Vantablack.
They're the only one. Okay.
Yes.
So, but didn't they have a model with the whole watch as black, or was it just the dial itself?
They did a concept where the entire watch was painted. It's basically a super hardcore scientific experiment where it has to be in a very controlled environment, which is why it actually works under a crystal, because once it's basically put together in a controlled lab, and then once the crystal goes on, it's completely protected. Otherwise, it's kind of fragile is probably the right word for it. Wow. So yes, they did that in like a chamber, basically, to pull that off.
Is that why steel, or is it like titanium?
The Vantablacks that they have today, they do them in steel and rose gold.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yep, steel and rose gold.
And none of them have hour markers.
So they do have there's the rose gold Streamliner.
Okay.
That has hour markers.
But nice.
There's a stainless steel one, no hour markers. The Endeavors, they have them with hour markers as well as without hour markers.
I have a group of friends who just stand by that brand. And one thing it sounds like you have had the opportunity to is not just experience the brands as a patron, experience the people who work for the brands. And I hear the people at Moser are top notch. And that made them love the brand even more so. One of my TikTok friends, actually, he had a night with the Moser team, and he put in a request for the yellow dial Moser with the egg one. The
egg. Yes.
But and when he told them that, they said, he's like, oh, it might be 3 or 4 months. They gave them one. They gave him one just to wear until his actually came in.
Wow.
And for like 3 or 4 months, he wore a loner Moser because he had one night with them and drinking wine and having a good time. And then they invited him and a couple of other friends out to Watch and Wonders as their guests. And I'm just like, and he only have one Moser. Like he doesn't have like millions of dollars of spend history with this little company. And I'm just saying, like, sometimes when you're building those kind of relationships, it goes beyond. You just said you still email somebody that you complimented them on a Panerai with, and you still have a relationship. Let's talk. Could you talk to me about like just the relationship building part of this community before we get out of here?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, when it comes to like my corporate work, there's a certain extent where you're building relationships because I have a product they want, or they have the spending purchase or a problem that my product solves, and so there's a relationship that forms from that. And sometimes luckily that gets to expand beyond just a business relationship. When it comes to watches, there's never something I'm really trying to gain or curry favor at all. It's just purely for the love of the game. And sometimes that has like allowed me to have like great guests on the show, whether it's Formex or Ulysse Nardin or Ming, like some great brands that have come on, and that I'm just so thankful that they're willing to spend an hour with me. So yeah, I mean, the relationship side of it it's as simple as you like watches, I like watches. You want to fucking talk about it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's it.
That's it. It's as simple as that. And it sets my heart on fire in the best way.
I love that, man.
Yeah,
Great.
absolutely.
Great answer.
Absolutely,
Thank
man.
you.
So, just real quick, I always ask this question because I just want to know, the guest perspective. But what's your favorite watch brand? And then ultimately, I was going to ask you, what's the most overrated watch brand, like in your opinion? Because like we've had guests on the show where they're just all about the crown, which is fine because I'm a Rolex fanboy myself. So, but we've discussed like Moser, we've discussed Panerai, we've discussed Blancpain, Omega, Rolex. Like you have a lot of your like your interests are very very vast. So yeah,
I mean, the like answer based on purely my collection should be Rolex, because now I have 3 of them, which is ridiculous to even say out loud. Like I can barely look myself in the mirror and be like, "You have 3 Rolexes, sir." Like what?
That's ridiculous.
That's crazy.
That's ridiculous.
No, like it is crazy. And God, they're so good, but it's not my favorite brand. My favorite watch brand is what is it's my favorite watch brand is actually it's Moser, and I don't even own one.
Wow.
Which is so crazy to say. And I'm serious.
I need to know why.
Like, oh man, I mean, I'll tell you why, and then I'll try and figure out in the meantime while I'm answering this what my most underrated watch or overrated watch brand is. Overrated, right. So when it comes to the design language of a Moser, it really speaks to me. I will say, and I've been lucky enough to like try a bunch on. They lent me one for my podcast, which was cool. And I had it for like way more weeks than I thought they were going to let me have it. But I love whether it's an Endeavor or a Streamliner. Like, I don't think they're a one-trick pony type of brand by any means, right? Omega, Speedy. Like, that's how they made their name. Moser, several different models, right? And there's fans for each and all of them. And so I'll take the Endeavor, for instance. The way that they do the case with kind of like these scalloped in curves on that case is, I find it like almost like it was forged or found and that in nature and then polished. And I love that. The hands on an Endeavor, they remind me of like leaves, like very natural in their habitat. And I also, when it comes to their dials, they are just visually stunning, whether it is Vantablack and you're looking at like into a black hole, or something that is like one of their Fume dials, even their more simple dials, and they don't have a logo because the language of the design speaks for itself. Like I like quiet luxury. I believe they are just exceptional quiet luxury. And then the last thing I'll say is the movement finishings that they do. They're beautiful. I don't know if I would say that they're the most perfect. Like Patek is just like, I think their movements, Vacheron's movements, like they're on another level. Mosers are fantastic, but what I really love is when you're wearing one, you hear the wind of the rotor, and it is the richest sound, and I love that. It is just, it's decadent. It's decadent.
You have a true passion for watches, and I can just hear how you describe things. I love that, man.
When I was in Boston last week on traveling on business, I got to try
important to know.
Got to try on. I stopped at the Booker store there, which was actually in the hotel, which was amazing. But I tried on a Moser for the first time. I tried on a Streamliner, and I was just telling Rhea, I'm like, man, this may be the best integrated bracelet on the market. Period.
He said that.
Yeah. Period. Like it wore so well. I'm like, oh man, this is Like don't get me wrong.
They just released a new one today with the green dial, right?
Yes, the lime green Streamliner.
Yep.
Killer watch.
They did. Nice. Yeah. I'm with you, man. Very excited about that. Very excited about yes, definitely. Man, before we conclude, always give our guests the floor. Are there any questions? Oh, go ahead.
He never said the most under. No, he's not leaving.
Oh, no. And this is why. Yeah,
I was hoping.
Yeah.
The most underrated brand.
Yeah.
Overrated brand. Excuse me. The most overrated brand.
The most overrated watch brand is Cartier.
He hurt my soul. I respect your opinion. Please explain.
It's killing me inside.
It's killing me inside.
Oh, man.
Why do you say that?
I feel like I know where you're going with this, though, but go ahead.
First, I'll say I'm so sorry. The reason why is while they have this iconic dial, it's unmistakable. The blue cornichon of the crown makes them unique. Beyond that, and like, yeah, the K shape, cool, Tank, Santos, all that stuff. I just find the fact that like the internals are, I don't think anything special. I think it is a bit repetitive. And so overall, like that's where they've made their name. And there's nothing wrong with owning a Cartier, of course. Of course. I myself actually very much wanted to get the Tank Must Solar Beat. Because actually I'm a science major, and I like found the way that they did the solar cell completely hidden, like very fascinating. They weren't the first to do that. Citizen was, but the way that they did that into like a more luxury watch, I found that very interesting. And so like they do some cool stuff, and I think the Cartier Crash are like amazing, so unobtainable. Yeah, but they're amazing. And the new Ghost dial is probably the most interesting thing that they have done in years. Yeah. However, overall, holistically, most overrated, and I said what I said.
I listen. So first of all, I love Cartier. He knows I'm a Cartier stan. I don't disagree with you because for something to be overrated, it has to be publicly rated high in the first place on some kind of platform. And it's jewelry, it's art, they have history. It's not about when they did tourbillons, when they tried to do different things in the past, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, nobody bought them. So they said, why are we wasting our money on all these watchmakers?
That's not why we're
FB
here.
Journe was here. They didn't care. So, FB Journe, you go off there and do what you're going to do over there. And we're going to sell watches here. So I don't dispute anything that you're saying. I respect that 100%.
Yeah.
Thank you. I know this is a safe space.
Yeah.
It's a safe space.
Are there any questions that you would like to pose to us before we conclude this great episode?
Excellent episode.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Before we conclude, I must know what is on each of y'all's wish list.
My ultimate wish list is an FP Journe Resonance, but let's be more realistic. I would say that I am looking to still fulfill some Rolex desires. I have Rolex Day-Date 18238 vintage Tony Soprano type style Day-Date, like just straight up old school, old man boss Day-Date that I just will not get out of my head. Yep, I'm never going to get that out of my system. So I'm not even going to try. And then I would like a Daytona on an Oyster Flex. I think that would be a great watch to wear daily.
Yes, dude.
Rubber
dials, rubber straps are so good.
Rubber strap is so good, and I think it's a collection killer. And then finally, before I turn it over to my man Rod here, I would love I would love to have a Nautilus. 5711, 5811. I would love to have one. Still, it would be great, but I love gold. I'm a yellow gold guy. Like, I don't take yellow gold off. Since I was a child, I've had yellow gold on. So
I love gold.
I love gold. So the Daytona would probably be a Pikachu. The Day-Date is yellow gold. So if I got a steel Nautilus or something like that, or maybe white gold to kind of calm it down a little bit, that's what in the near future, a Datejust.
I love it.
Yeah, man. For myself, I would say yellow gold Day-Date green ombre dial. Flexible on the dial. I want the 40 millimeter gold Day-Date, preferably the green ombre dial. There's the Beauvais Recital 30 that I always look at, and I really want that watch. I think that is the most, in my opinion, the most beautiful world timer aside from Patek. That is amazing. And I love the Recital 30, and I love the fact that they're all bespoke and they're just they're essentially made to order. So I love that. And then the blue ceramic AP, man. I just every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, this is like in my top 10. I look back like this is my top 5.
I forgot about that.
This might be my favorite watch.
No, that's I forgot about that.
And somehow, some way, they make the ceramic not feel childish. Like it's heavy. I don't know how they do it. It's absolute and
it's like a gloss. A lot of other companies do it like it's like a matted ceramic look, right? Where theirs look like it's still nice. I hear that the links break easily, so be careful. But yes,
right. When you go and get that blue ceramic AP, be careful.
Yeah, $500,000. That's it.
Yeah, not too crazy. Yeah, not too crazy. Yeah,
man. Appreciate you for really hopping on and joining us
This
today,
is-
man. This is one of our best episodes. I really appreciate you.
This is amazing, man. And where can our audience find you?
Well, you can find me on Instagram, watchthetech_pod. At least I think that's what it is. And then for full length episodes of my podcast, just go into YouTube and type Watch the Tech. It'll be the first thing that pops up.
Perfect.
That's great. That's great. Man, for real, the Watcher, I'm Rod Dye signing off on another great episode. Until next time.
We out.
Let's go. Thank you, guys.